welcome to the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens. Today is a special day because we have a good friend to the show back home with us, and there's a long backstory, so we're going to get into that a little bit. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about remembering where you came from and community involvement. It's so important for leaders, and anybody who knows the show knows that leadership happens across all walks of life. But it's important to have leaders that remember where they came from. You know, how did you get to the point that you're at, that you've become a leader in your industry? And I, being a Coastal Carolina University graduate, feel like that one of my big things I've wanted to do is always continue to give back to Coastal Carolina. My company, Carolina-based, sponsors Coastal Carolina Athletics, so it's nice to be a part of that, but it feels gratifying to help other people, and it helps to be a part of your community in all things you do. So today, this special friend of ours is one Cobi Williams from CCU. Welcome to the show, Cobi.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well, dude. It feels like these are old times for us, man.
Yeah. Palmetto Happenings with Cobi or Happenings with Cobi. What was
Happenings with Cobi. Yeah, we used to do a show, and it was Teal Talk.
Teal Talk,
And every week, Cobi and Danielle, also a good friend of the show, would come on with us, and they'd tell us all about Coastal. Which the great thing is, today we are going to do a little Happenings with Cobi.
Yeah, little good old times. You know?
Well, before we get into that, man, what you been up to lately?
Man, I mean, it's life is good.
Yeah,
that's a summary of it.
Yeah,
I'm everything is awesome. At Coastal. Loving my job at the Coastal. I'm the Community Development Officer for the Office of Advancement and Alumni Engagement.
Nice.
And so my role was created specifically to be a further connection to alumni of Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
And, we have, the school is quickly growing. Mm-hmm. And I want to embrace that growth, but also understand where we've been and where we're going in the future. And so, but that part of that has to do with engaging with the alumni. And so, that's the job, is just to be more of a connection for the alumni of the Coastal.
One thing about you, and I feel it almost feels weird talking to you on the camera like this because these are the kind of conversations we have all the time. But tell me about Coastal Carolina spirit. I know I graduated a lot before you did, but spirit feels like it's grown over the last, I'm going to say 20 years, but over the last 10 years even. What's your perception of the Coastal Carolina pride?
Listen, Coastal has always been a fantastic academic institution, and there's been a lot of pride and love for the school throughout the years, starting all the way back in 1953 when the school started as a junior college, but especially the past 10 years. I'm not going to discount that. The past 10 years have been phenomenal when it comes to alumni engagement and love. But people have always been proud to be part of the Sean and Claire community. Even when we were part of College of Charleston and USC. And then we became our independent institution. So there's always been pride for the school, but over the past 10 years, I mean, it's really taken off. Between baseball,
2016 world champions.
16 world champions, and but I mean, every single year for the past 25 years, Coastal's been always up there in baseball, football over the past 5 or 6 years. I love ever since Coach Moglia has taken over. It's a whole new level, all the coaches that we've had since then and before then. It's incredible. I love it.
I want to go back a couple of steps because you said something, and a little maybe spoiler alert for later, but you talked about College of Charleston. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because even a guy like me, who I'm a Coastal grad, I only in the last probably 2 years found out about the College of Charleston connection from years ago. Yep. So having a historian on this,
amateur,
a junior historian. No, it's really
amateur.
Cool.
Let's not go junior. Let's not go junior. Okay, amateur. I'll take amateur.
Fair enough. And then also, Cobi's a big sports fan, so we might talk about that a little bit. What role, in your perspective, has President Benson played in the school and what he's done since he came in?
Oh, man, he is. I mean, every time I see the guy, I'm like, I love you, man. I mean, so his first day was right around the same time as my first day working full-time for the university back in 2021. And I mean, from day one, what I've seen the guy, he's just he knows everybody. He gets along with everybody. You know, he has a relationship with everybody in the Palmetto State, which is incredibly important for the growth of our school and for other areas. And he's a tremendous leader. That's all I have to say about him.
I'll tell you one thing. Talking about I love that you use leadership. Leadership to me is connecting with your people. And my definition of leadership has been a person who has the greatest effect for the good of the domain that they're within. So I think President Benson does just that. For a man who has so much on his plate, I see him on social media taking pictures with students, taking pictures with local community leaders, and he's a guy who's accessible. Yeah, he's never too big for saying hello.
Listen, accessibility, that's what I like about the guy too, is that, you know, he's very accessible. If you send him an email, if you send him a text, if you send him a message on Twitter even, he'll respond. And, you know, let's get coffee sometime. You know, he's one of those guys. He's great. He's great.
So if you're at home and you're thinking about how do I be a great leader, just remember that even as you raise up through the ranks, and we start off the show talking about remembering where you came from, just remember there's somebody that might be in the shoes that you were in 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago in some cases, and for him to be able to say, I didn't forget those people, I'm going to be kind, and that's great leadership. So very cool.
Being kind, that's also being something kind. That's important to me when it comes to leadership. You just be kind to everybody, and just be a good person.
Yeah, it's like the golden rule, right? You know, it's like treat others as you want to be treated.
I suppose, yes.
Yeah, so a version
I
of
like
that.
to simplify and just be kind. You
know? Just be kind, absolutely. Right. Yep. So over at Coastal, we are in that little break of the season where baseball season's over, football season hasn't started. What are you doing on campus right now?
I mean, just gearing up for the upcoming school year.
Yeah.
You know, we have, football's going to be great this year. Basketball's going to be great. We have a new basketball coach.
Yeah.
You know, and from the alumni perspective, we're going to have tailgates, if you will.
Tailgates, yes.
Yeah, we started that last year, and before each home football game, we'll have a get-together for alumni of the school and just friends of the university to get together and eat some chicken bog. We'll talk about that eventually.
Spoiler alert, Cobi likes chicken bog.
We'll get there. There's a history behind that. So this summer is just engaging with alumni and telling them about what's going on at the university. Facilities, they're busy, with building different buildings around campus. Thompson Library, I'm very excited about. Our new library that's going on campus, hopefully in September.
I got to ask you a question about libraries now. Now, people don't typically go to libraries like I imagine they did when your grandparents were little or my parents were little or whatever.
Wow, way to call me out. Right? I like libraries.
I'm just curious. What's this library going to be like? Are there going to be rows and rows of books, or is it more of a study hall?
It's going to be, from my understanding, it's going to be a digital library. But there's also going to be a section in there for older books, the Coastal Carolina or Horry County history books.
Okay.
And there we're still going to use the Kimbrough Library still, but this is going to be the main library. It's going to be a digital commons. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited.
Very nice. Talk about alumni engagement. What makes what's the best way to get your alumni engaged? Because obviously you graduate, you've got your degree, you go hang it on the wall, and then you go about your day. And it's too easy for people to sometimes forget where they came from. What are you guys doing to try to engage alumni?
So what are you doing to invest in the future? And that's kind of been my perspective. That's the perspective of the alumni office, and how we engage with alumni is like, this is what we're doing now that's going to increase the value of your degree, and it's also going to increase the value of everything on campus. And so that's my perspective. And I just, whenever I meet with alumni, I just tell them, this is what we're doing on campus, and this is why we want you to be engaged. Whether it's an advisory board or donation of some sort, I want you to be involved and show your wisdom and share your knowledge.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I think about the degree value is that is so underrated. And we're talking all about Coastal Carolina today, but honestly, it could be any organization, really, if you think about it. The deal is, when you increase awareness of any given brand or product, you're making that product more valuable.
Yes.
So as you graduate and you have your degree, and I can speak on this because I graduated from Coastal at a time where not as many people really were familiar with Coastal. At that time, you had to tell them, hey, we're a nationally accredited business school, and we have a great school for marine biology, for example, but not that many people are aware. Guess what happens later? We get a football team. Football ends up putting this on the map in a major, major way. We have a baseball team that goes to the World Championship, World Champions 2016, and postseason every year. Great head coaching over the years and management over the years. And this has increased our value, but it sometimes can't happen without those investments from the alumni or your investors in general.
But also just telling people also, there's something I wanted to add is our academic programs that we're adding on. We just, probably what you just read on when it comes to sports, our sports announcing program that's going to be headed up by Matt Hogue.
Okay,
one of our podcast guests in a couple years. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, announcer, the voice of Coastal Carolina, Sean Clears, back in 2016, and he was our athletic director for a couple years there, and now he's going to be heading up the sports announcing program.
Nobody could be better for that.
100%. But we also have nursing, bachelor's in nursing. We're getting involved in space, which is kind of cool.
Space,
space. I'm not all about the space, but it's cool. I'm not like an expert in it, but I know we have a space program that's developing. We also have some great academics. That's been here for a long time. That's a staple. We have teaching. I think 99% of the graduates, 99.5 or 7 of the graduates are employed within 6 months of graduation, which is pretty impressive. It's very good for our Horry County schools. But our business school, AACSB accredited. That's always been like that. Not every school has that accreditation, and so we're proud of that. Political science, arts and humanities. Our arts department, top notch. That college. Those productions, are pretty impressive. And
I appreciate you throwing that out because the course load has gotten very impressive, and as the amount of enrollment has grown, so have the opportunities to do other things. So I love that. Have you been very involved with the Performing Arts Theater in Myrtle Beach and that connection?
I just read about it, man. I'm excited about it. The Arts and Innovation District down in downtown Myrtle Beach is going to be incredible. What they're doing already right now, what's already there. I love Swing and Swine. That whole block, the food area was a barbecue area. But
are you doing more swigging or more swining?
Swining, actually. I'm not much of that, but I love the barbecue, man. It's great. But that whole area is amazing, and the Arts Innovation Center that Coastal is going to be involved with, I'm excited about.
Man,
that's gonna be cool.
I love that too. Our good buddy Devin Parks from the city has come in and talked about that before, and I think that's gonna be a great thing. Very cool stuff happening at Coastal. One of the things that I was excited about is the indoor practice facility right across from the football stadium. So for you at home who might not know about this, Coastal's been raising funds for this, and there have been some great sponsors, and we'll talk about them in time. But the idea has been to have a world-class indoor training facility for all the sports teams, and I just think that's so great. We have some other big things in the news. Melissa Jefferson going to the Olympics. Coastal
Carolina student grad.
Man,
awesome.
She runs like lightning, and now crazy. She's representing us. So you talk about we go from everything from the World Champions 2016 football regularly in the top 20. Then we have Olympian representing, and just such cool stuff. What about you said there was some other news with AD?
So something I wanted to mention is that our new athletic director, the one who replaced Matt Hogue, his name's Chance Miller. He comes from USC, and I'm excited for him. I went to his press conference the other day, and I was excited to hear that he was going to be doing fundraising that afternoon. So we need that. We need that energy. So I'm excited for him and his vision, and so it's cool stuff.
Very cool stuff, man. I love hearing about Coastal. Well, we can get back into a little bit more Coastal talk, more like history talk in a little bit. But before we get into that, I want to talk about you a little bit.
Cool.
You are in a role right now. When I first met you, you were working in the Grant Center and doing some great stuff over there. I felt like you've always been a great ambassador for Coastal, and I really do, man.
Thank you.
And truthfully, this guy's one of the best promoters out there. You promote Loris, and you're proud of that Loris connection. But let's go back and talk about how you got into this role and what led you to this point of your life.
Yeah. So, graduated from Coastal Carolina University undergraduate in 2017, and then there's 2-year gap in graduation from there and starting my MBA. I worked in DC for a couple years, and I thought that was kind of fun.
DC?
Yeah.
It's expensive living up there.
Expensive, but it was cool memories, you know?
Gotcha.
I was eating ramen and just living on a mattress, but it was fun, you know?
What was your favorite flavor of ramen noodles?
Oh, man, I like the beef one.
The beefs are so good.
It's good. But I was right on Capitol Hill, so it was kind of fun, you know, being right there, sharing a room with a whole bunch of guys and, you know, working up there for a little bit. But then I came home and I enrolled in the MBA program at Coastal, and at the same time got in touch with one of my mentors in undergrad, Dr. Rob Salvino, and he was interested in some of the research that I did in DC, and just like, you know, we ended up making agreements like I'll be his graduate assistant for that year. I was doing the MBA program, and he's the research economist for the schools and also the director for the Grant Center for Real Estate and Economics, which is the Economic Development Center and the Community Outreach Center for the Wall College and the entire university. So I was his graduate assistant for that year, and then COVID hit. That was fun. Not really at all.
We learned from COVID.
We learned. It was learning. I'm all about learning. And so I graduated and was working in property management there for a little bit. It was kind of fun.
Okay.
And then early 2021, when the things started becoming normal again, relatively, this position came up called business liaison for the Grant Center. Came about, and Dr. Salvino and I were like, let's do it. So I took the job and did that for 3 years. I got to do a lot of community outreach for the university in that position. I did all the Rotary circuits. And,
sure.
It was fun.
I've seen you at speaking events, at about every networking event out there.
Yeah. Just preaching the gospel of Coastal Carolina from that perspective. And got to put together our economic growth summits, economic growth and real estate summits for 3 years. And that was a lot of fun.
Man, and by the way, before we get past that, you done a phenomenal job with that.
Thanks,
I remember
man.
the first year we went to it, and it was good, but it was not as big. By the time you got to that last one, your last one that you coordinated, it was the whole room's filled up. You had every table, you had tons of sponsors.
Yeah,
man. You did a crazy good job with that.
It was fun. I mean, so the Growth Summit. We host speakers on who are experts on issues most pressing to the Waccamaw region, and we've been doing that for 25 years, I believe. I could be wrong on that. It might be 45 years. 25, 45, I forgot what it is.
Somewhere in the 25
I've been involved with
45.
6, for 10 now. And I've been able to coordinate the past 3. Just that was one of my most exciting projects that I got to take on when I joined the Grant Center, is the being able to help coordinate the summit with Dr. Salvino, the speakers, and who do I want to have as sponsors for the event. There's a lot of people that wanted to go to the event, but I was able to be picky on who I wanted to sponsor the event. Get the when I say the right people, I just want people who are going to be in this event who have mind for making a difference in the Waccamaw region.
Yeah, very much.
So that was kind of the point of that, and I loved it. It was always successful. First year was my first, it was a rough draft, but it was still fun. It was a good one. I think I had 20 sponsors that year. We had 250 folks show up for that one. At the Marina in Grand Dunes, phenomenal facility.
Absolutely.
Second year, we were at the Dunes Club, and I love that. I mean, the golf course, the Myrtle Beach Classic. I hope we can talk about that in a little bit.
Sure.
He's right into the down. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And we had about 310 folks show up to that one. talking about the future of the Waccamaw region's economy from a historical perspective. We had an all-star lineup for that. I mean, you can go on YouTube and check out the speakers for that. I love that one. And then this past year, I with a lot of single ticket sales, but we also sold out on sponsorships, and I thought I was done once I got sponsored. I was like, yeah, listen, we'll have 300 people there, that'll be fun. That day of, I got there that morning and at 5 o'clock, and people were already there, so ready for so I at the Marina Inn.
It was like they were going to a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, no, it was like a Comic-Con kind of thing.
right.
And I was like, okay, this is crazy. But that was fun, and it was a cool, this year's program was awesome too, so I love that.
Well done. Are you going to stay involved with that as time goes on, or is that kind of past?
No, I mean, I just, Dr. Salvina is my mentor, so obviously I'm going to help him out as much as possible, and I'm proud of that one.
That's very cool. You should be proud of that for sure. How about and I don't want to go deep on this. I know Dr. Salvina very well. He's a great guy. He's been on our show before as well. Tell me something, because you mentioned he's your mentor. What's one of the best things that he helped you with as you were growing up?
So he's the reason why I attended Coastal Carolina University. As an undergraduate student, I heard him give a talk on the economy, one of his annual economic outlook presentations at Georgetown Technical College in 2011, 12, I think it was. Yeah. And at the time, I was figuring out where I want to go to college because I did the associate's degree in high school, and so I got into a whole bunch of schools, in-state schools, and I was trying to figure out where I want to go. And I heard this Dr. Salvino speak, and he really simplified complex economic issues, and I love that. And I was like, I want to take a class with him.
That's a great point.
And I annoyed him probably every day my freshman year with questions, with different ideas, different topics about the economy, about economics, about research that I was into at the time, tax policy and real estate, property rights. So he's a great guy.
I would tell you that I always like to have takeaways from the show. And one of the takeaways, I think Einstein said one time, and I hope I'm quoting this right, but he said, if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. Exactly. And I think what you said that he does well, and I think for all leaders out there to know, is we sometimes want to sound smart, so we start talking way over people's heads. But the truth is, when you can simplify it, you deliver your message more completely, and you're able to really hit the mark. And that's something I've noticed with him he does do well. When you go to those economic growth conferences, he comes out and does all these stats that would be confusing, but he's able to explain them there.
Exactly, and a low-key way of doing it. He's always laid back.
Kind of funny. He's got that kind of casual funniness.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's all I like about the guy. He's casual. He's cool. But also going back to the coastal connection, I mean that was kind of a theme of my undergraduate experience, is that these professors, these incredibly smart people, they were very accessible. I mean, I could go to their office hours and talk their ear off, and they would help me out with my homework and all that stuff, and you're really accessible, and I like that about Coastal.
That's a good endorsement for Coastal Carolina. I love it, man.
Loved it.
Before we move on, because I want to talk a little bit about coastal history here in a minute, but before we get into that, you talked about the fact that you went up to D.C. for a 2-year stint there. What did you think you would be doing at that time of your career? Did you think you were going to go into that world more deeply, or was it always part of the plan to be there for a short moment?
So I initially wanted to work in baseball management. Oh, okay. And then in the front office, I worked for the Myrtle Beach Pelicans for 5 years, high school and my first year of college, and when I was a freshman at Coastal, I just happened to meet our then Congressman Tom Rice, and he's like, "Come intern for me." There was some lead up to that. I did a couple economic events and tours when I was in high school that kind of introduced me to him previously. But he's like, "Come intern for me," and I interned for both his district offices and DC office throughout college, and loved it. It wasn't the politics that I really enjoyed. It was just always the interacting with the people of the 7th District of South Carolina, all the way from, right outside of Rock Hill all the way down to Alwendos, down near Charleston, Mount Pleasant and Charleston. Just the people's passion, the people's voices on Palmetto State and their concern for and advocacy for their respective issues. Yeah. And I love that. And so after college, I went to DC with not really any expectations, other than I didn't want to necessarily have a career up there, but I wanted to learn, and I wanted to meet people, and just see what I can do to really benefit, be an advocate for this region, because I love Loris, where I'm from. I love Myrtle Beach. Timber, turpentine, tobacco, and tourism. Those are the 4 T's of Horry County.
Yeah.
And we have so many, and that's a wide range of issues right there. It's really interesting. We're a very complex community, and I just love it. And so going to DC just was all about learning.
Yeah.
And I learned from some great people. Senator Tim Scott and Congressman Joe Wilson, the Heritage Foundation. So I did a lot of research over there. So loved it.
Very cool.
It was
very
a good old time. Yeah.
So let's talk one more thing about this, and then we're going to get a little coastal history, which I've been pumped about all since you told me you're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
So you meet a lot of college students. You actually did me the honor of going to the Coastal Carolina cafeteria for fried chicken.
Yeah.
And
Fried Chicken Friday.
Fried Chicken Friday. And look, as a coastal grad, to see how far it's come, it's such a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, that cafeteria is pretty nice.
Oh,
yeah.
so
I was talking
cool.
about the fried chicken, but yeah, the cafeteria is nice.
They're both good. They make great food here.
Yeah.
But the reason I mention this is you meet a lot of college students, and even at Coastal, which is a great school, a lot of college students drop out over the years, and they find out college might not be for them. But what is something that you would tell somebody that's going to college, they're a freshman, going to the first year of school at Coastal? How do they maximize their experience?
Be curious. Be curious about learning, about exploring academic topics, about be thirsty. That's kind of like the summary, I guess. And thirst for knowledge, and just make sure you're learning. I always want to be a lifelong learner, but I know not everyone's like that. Everyone kind of wants their own. Some people want to have their own careers and just go with that, but just never stop learning, and just go into college with an open mindset, and just learn as much as you can.
Be curious, man.
Be curious.
I love that.
Yep.
All right. So, Cobi, we've been talking a little bit about Coastal. I've been teasing some history. What you got for us, man? Tell us all about Coastal.
So one of my favorite books that gives you a pretty comprehensive history on Coastal Carolina University is Coastal Carolina University, The First 50 Years, by Dr. Roy Talbert Jr. And he was basically Coastal's history. He was a Coastal history professor for a long time. Dr. Talbert was, and he did a book. This book is all about the first 50 years of Coastal, from the idea of Coastal back in pre-1953 to us being part of College Charleston, and the whole conversations around us working with USC, the meeting at Turbeville at the Chat and Chew for us to become a satellite campus of USC, talking about the history of Coastal Education Foundation, of which I'm wearing the lapel pin for.
Nice.
Love them.
Nice.
Horry County Higher Education, and so it's a great book. It's a great book.
It goes all through the first 50 years.
First 50 years.
Talk about that Chat and Chew situation. So that was where, for the people who haven't heard the story, so how did that happen? They brought
so Coastal started as a college that was accredited by College Charleston back in 1953, and from 1953 to 1958, that was kind of the deal. Well, in 1958, Coastal, became an independent college, and the accreditation, they were looking for accreditation to be an independent college, and there were some, conversations about that. That was kind of complex. It's in the book. Read the book. Very interesting. But ultimately, University of South Carolina, the University of South Carolina, they made an agreement with Coastal for us to become a satellite campus of USC in 1950, late 1958, early 1959. A formal agreement was agreed to at the Chat and Chew in Turbeville, South Carolina. You do not want to speed through there, but the fried chicken at the Chat and Chew is amazing. It's halfway between Conway and Columbia as the crow flies. It's like 61 miles to Columbia.
Say about maybe an hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes.
From Conway?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago we went there, actually. And the agreement was made there for us to become a satellite campus of USC, and that's how we became associated with USC. And then over that next decade, we added a third and fourth year to our academics, because we just were like a 2-year program where you do 2 years here, and then you go 2 years at USC and Columbia. And So that's where that went, and then we ultimately became a separate university in 1993.
Nice.
Accreditation, our own accreditation through the help of Coastal Education Foundation. I mean, I love them. They're awesome people. I work in the same office as them. They're great people. And the Horry County Higher Education and the taxpayers. Yeah. Because the whole reason why Coastal, this whole conversation with Coastal becoming an independent university at some point, or an independent college, is the increase in the millage tax, which pays for buildings, academic buildings in the county. And back in 1958, the voters voted for that, and so that led the way for, it was like 1961 is when we actually got our first building set, which is, I don't want to speculate, I forgot which building it was, to be honest. I'm going to be transparent on that. I think it was Singleton, but I think someone told me differently. It's a nice building. I think it was Singleton. I'm going to go with that because I like Singleton.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building.
So it was a teamwork effort, and so this book just tells you everything about it. I love it.
So as far as the community coming together, I think there's an important underscoring there. As I've traveled around, I've found that statewide, but really I think over the whole nation, we have two of the best colleges in the whole, I'm going to say, the United States, right here in the Myrtle Beach area. And of course, it's Conway, to be specific, which is, for those who don't live here, it's out just on the outskirts of Myrtle Beach. But you look at Horry Georgetown Technical College, such an amazing tech school, and Coastal Carolina University. And the best part about these two schools are they don't compete in the traditional sense. They collaborate with each other, and they both grow together.
I mean, that's the best way to put it. Horry Georgetown Technical College and Coastal, they're on the same team. They're all about employing, they're educating the future workforce of South Carolina and even the entire country. I know President Benson and Dr. Four over at Tech, they get along very well. That again, Dr. Benson, he does a good job with creating relationships and being strategic, and I like that. And so I agree with you on that.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm going to hit you up with a couple last things here, and then we'll, as we get to the back end of the show. First things first, what are a good way for some alumni to get involved? Just whether it's going to a website, coming to, what would you recommend, something coming up that they could get involved with?
So Coastal's growing like crazy, like very quickly. I want our alumni to be involved because I like that perspective of where we've been, where we're at right now, and where we're going in the future. And so I encourage any alumni to be involved with the Alumni Association, whether it's simply going out to coastal.edu and looking up the section for the Alumni Association, paying that $35 dues, yearly dues, and you'll get the alumni newsletter. You'll get there's a whole bunch of benefits. So you actually get a library, access to the librry, which is amazing.
No way!
I love
That's
it.
amazing. What a great deal.
So I encourage anybody. It's kind of a plea, really, because we want you to be engaged. We want your knowledge and your brain.
Absolutely. Well, and your leadership.
Yeah, your leadership.
You're opening up the doors for the next.
Exactly. And in that spirit, with honoring the past, I kind of want to put a plug in for this a little bit. We're talking about the Chat and Chew. We have we're putting up a historical marker at the Chat and Chew to honor that meeting. And a colleague of mine from the office, we went up to Chat and Chew and talked with those folks. And we're working with the historian at Coastal to put up a historical marker. We're going to have a big alumni event there in the next several months. Okay. It's going to be very cool. Very exciting about that. So.
Man, I'm going to have to attend that one. No, that sounds good.
But it's all about where we've been, but also as we move forward. So it's very important to me.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, I love that, and that sounds like something everybody can get involved with, including current students. So very cool stuff. Let's talk a little bit about Loris real quick before we get to. I want to end this show and not let you mention your place. Yeah. So Loris, tell me a couple of cool things about Loris.
Oh man, so it's a small town, tobacco town, back in about 30 minutes from Myrtle Beach, and it's a great town. The chicken bog capital of the world. Chicken bog rice, chicken and sausage. We have the Loris Bog Off every year.
That's right.
We're in the 45th annual this October. October 19th.
45th, man.
45th, yeah. So
Wow.
consecutive, because we were able to follow the COVID guidelines. So we like to proudly say 45th consecutive Bog Off. Actually, in a couple days before that, Bog Off, we're going to be having, in the spirit of Coastal Carolina University, there's been about 5 folks from Coastal who are considered to be founders of Coastal that are from Loras. And so I had this idea, that's been encouraged by my boss over in the alumni office to have a downtown Teal Tuesday on the October 15th. And so it's downtown Teal Tuesday. Basically, we're going to cover the whole downtown Loras Teal, and we're going to have a big old Teal event in Loras that day. It's part of the theme, the series called Downtown Tuesdays in Loras, where we shut down downtown Loras and have a big old party, and it's a good community event.
And you said it's October 15th of this year. Is that the only time this year, or
that'll be the only Teal Downtown Teal Tuesday event? But we do Downtown Tuesdays every single Tuesday throughout the year. We'll have cornhole tournaments when we don't have a themed events, but we have, Halloween, we have Christmas. We turn ourselves into the North Pole of the South. It's kind of interesting. Well, Santa Claus out there.
It's like the North Pole with more chicken bog.
Yeah, we had the Polar Express bus there this past Christmas. So it's cool. And we have car shows throughout the year. I'm on the chamber board. I love it. And just finished up being president of the Loras Civitan Club, oldest civic organization in Horry County. And E.E. Prince, founder of Coastal Carolina, he was our first, a charter member of the Loras Civitan, which I think is kind of cool connection there. So
and I'll say this much. If you're from out of the area and you're thinking about moving to the Myrtle Beach area, and I put that in quotations, I'll say Loras is one of the next best places that you can go, and 100%. I think it's going to continue to grow. It's just a little bit west of the Myrtle Beach zone.
Great roads.
Great development. I know they have the industrial center there. I think that's looking
Sandy
pretty
Davis
awesome.
is doing a Lorsonian, and she's leading up the EDC.
Shout out to Myrtle Beach Regional Economic Development.
But we have that awesome industrial park out there. We're getting tourism. I mean, our baseball and our youth leagues are all incredible. We have a couple of championships out there every summer. Brings a couple thousand people to town. But everything. Loras is great.
And I'm going to tell you this. I've also heard there's Loras has a mascot. He's called Cluck Norris. I've heard of this guy. Do you know this Cluck Norris guy?
Yeah, I do. So when I moved home, we're just going to keep it on broad strokes here, all right? So Cluck Norris, he's the Loras Bog Off mascot, and I manage his schedule. I'm a guy who will do whatever it takes to make people happy. I'm an advocate. So it might involve dressing up as a chicken. We can leave. Yeah, exactly. But that's all I'll say about that.
Man, well, honestly, I love the spirit. You're a great ambassador for Loras, for Coastal Carolina. Tell us how people can find more about you.
Find more about me. I'm all over the social media pages. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's where I always post history stuff or whatever I'm doing cool for that week. Follow me, official Cobi Williams. I think that's my Twitter.
Okay.
No, my Instagram and Twitter is Cobi Williams, just simply Cobi Williams. And then I have a website called cobiwilliams.com. Check on that. It tells you a little bit more about me. And then coastal.edu. Check out Coastal.
Very cool stuff. Well, Cobi, thank you for being on the show.
Appreciate
man.
it, sir.
Good like old times.
Yeah.
And for you guys who listen today, we appreciate it. We hope you got some great value. Take your leadership out there. Be kind. And as Cobi said, be curious. And that's not just for the Coastal students. As you go into your daily routine, be curious. Look at something. Look at how you can make the world a better place. Look how you can learn a new skill. And that's some powerful lesson for today. And I will wrap with that. I want to thank our sponsors, Carolina-based Real Estate and Construction. Thank you to the people on the leaders list. And we'll see y'all next time on the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens.